junior team, that's a little bit different of how you would approach that email. If you're talking to a college, the first thing I always tell kids is, do you want to go to that college? Do you want to go to that college for education? Not, do you want to go to that college just for hockey? Do you want an education from that school? What is your major? What do you want to do? Otherwise, it's not going to be sincere. It's not sincerely, I want to go to Middlebury, if you don't know anything about the school and you don't even know if your major is even in Middlebury. But you want to make that email to every college a sincere email if you want to go there. And you want to put on it, hey coach, these are my GPA, this is my GPA, this is my test scores, this is my schedule for this upcoming showcase. If you are up there, I would like, if you are up there, I would love you to see me.
Short and sweet.
Yep.
I'm interested in your school. I'm going to be up there this weekend. I play for so-and-so. Here's my number. And if you can't make it this time, is it okay if I keep you updated on my progress and let you know the next time I'm in?
Yeah, you should always do that. Even if they write back or don't write back to you on the first try, the next showcase you should still write back, because eventually it will work. I really do. I say it all the time. College coaches, they do get back to you. Scouts, they do get back to you. I mean, it may take 2 weeks, it may take 3 weeks sometimes, but they will get back to you.
It may take 2 years. I mean, this year they're looking at 99s, right?
Yeah,
so the D3 guys are. So if you're a 2000, they might get, they might talk to you a little bit, but like our kids get, I think, wound up, Ben, with they're not pulling me out of the locker room. These college coaches don't do that.
Yeah.
If they see a 99 that they really want that they can bring in next year, they're going to talk to that kid. The other kids, it's like my son's going to Suffolk, and the Suffolk assistant coach, John Burgess, was here, and he showed me a bunch of kids that he likes, and he's going to follow those kids. But he's like, I'm not going to talk to them today because I'm not going to get them next year. But when they're up here, I'm going to look for those kids, and Ben. So that networking and getting your name out there, they're paying attention, and they're going to look for you at some point.
Yeah, a great example of that is actually Brian Adesla with the Worcester Railers that was up here on Tuesday watching our game. Came to me afterwards, asked some questions of the three of us, actually, asked some questions about players on his list. Of the 6 or 7 that he asked about, only maybe 2 or 3 he feels are ready for his team this year. The rest he's going to track over the course of the next season or two, and that's one of the big things I tell parents a lot of times is it's a giant database, right? We're all, from the scouting side, we're gathering information on players. Okay, I saw this guy at Lowe. This is how he played. 6 months from now, if I see him again at whatever USPHL showcase or AYHL or whatever it is, and I see him again, does he play that well? Does he play that dominant as he did 6 months ago? If he's better, then I know I'm tracking the right guy. If he's not, then maybe he just had a really good game that one game at Lowell. But it's about gathering as much information as possible.
So it's just as important too. Then, if like I'm trying to keep track of a running list of who's here. I don't know everybody. I see the guys I know. I say hello. I see guys wearing their college gear. I know that they're from that college. But I want to give the kids a running list because maybe they didn't pull you out to talk to you this time, but you should still follow up and stay on their radar and tell them that you're interested.
Sure, especially with with colleges that may only have 1 or 2 positions open going into this year or even the following school year. They're waiting to see who's coming at them in some cases. They don't have to go after 20 guys because they know they have that one spot open. They want to find that right guy who's hungry for that one spot. So if you're reaching out to them and saying, hey, I saw you in the building at Songus Arena in Lowell, we didn't talk, but I'm very interested in your school. He goes back to his notes and goes, wow, that was one of my favorite kids. Now all of a sudden there's that taking that chance, so to speak, of reaching out to him is all the difference it makes in getting that spot.
And again, Coach Matarazzo, we get kids who are coaches who are your EHL coaches today. They're your D3 coaches tomorrow. Yep. So you never know who's watching. You never know where they're going to end up, and you never want to burn a bridge.
Yep. Never want to burn a bridge. You never know where someone's going to be next year. That's the rule of thumb for most of these kids. And it also goes back that when these coaches do reach out, you should reach back out. You shouldn't just
respond.
Yeah, you shouldn't just keep it and not say anything. That unfortunately tends to happen more and more often these days. These kids' lack of response to other coaches.
Well, and the important thing is, again, about forming relationships, having the communication, is when a coach does reach out, regardless of what his response is, it's being open, honest, professional, polite, all those sort of things. So if somebody reaches out to you and you just know that that's not the right school for you, it's okay to say, thank you so much, I appreciate your interest, I'll keep your school in the back of my mind, however, I have something else that I'm looking forward to or whatever. You don't have to give away too much information, but you always want to be polite, professional, and honest.
With anybody in life, but with these kids, the junior coaches, I mean, sometimes they're almost insulted. You're not a tier 2 or tier 1 guy, and it's almost like they roll their eyes or they don't respond, and you're a waste of my time. Well, guess what? That guy, great example, George Lewis, Little Flyers, did a great job with Little Flyers for the year that he was in charge there. Well, he's at Amarillo as an assistant coach in the NAHL, and guess who reached out to me right away about players when he took the job at Amarillo? George Lewis. And maybe there's kids in our area who blew him off at some point, and now he's not interested, but he's at that level that they want to be at.
Well, there's a great story I can tell you about, and I won't name names, but there's a scout that I know that works in Ontario, or actually most of Canada, who works for the OHL. He works for an OHL team. The majority of games he goes to, and he's watching players, especially at the midget level, at the U16 level, or that they're looking to potentially draft in the OHL, he's wearing a jacket of some junior C team that his brother or whoever's the coach or GM of. And he's testing that kid. We can argue, right or wrong, if that's the right way to do it with a 15 or 16-year-old kid. But he's testing the character of that kid when he pulls him out of the locker room after the game, and the kid looks at the jacket and sees, the middle of nowhere junior C club. How does that kid react? And he and I are friends, so he's told me stories of some of the guys who are now NHL superstars that he's done that with.
You mean you don't want to play hockey in the Yukon territory?
Yeah. And he's done that with some guys, and he'll say the guys that you see that are in the NHL or whatever, that you go, he seems like a nice guy. He's the guy that came out of the locker room and goes, oh, hey, Coach, I don't know if you know or not, but I'm on the OHL draft list. I appreciate your interest, and if I don't get drafted in the OHL, I'll keep you in mind.
And then he rips off his jacket like Superman and shows his OHL jacket.
Yeah, he'll pull out the business card and go, oh, by the way, I work for this OHL team. And he said, it's interesting to see the guys that you look at on TV and you think, wow, he must be a really nice guy. He actually is a really nice guy in person because of the things that he's done and the character that he has.
And just so many great coaches that are doing it for the love of the game at the lower levels, and they just really like to do like Coach Mazzo. They like to take the kids who are under the radar and develop them and coach them, and their success in life is, instead of moving themselves up to the next level, it's moving kids up to the next level.
Well, yeah, I think the one thing that's changing more and more in midget hockey is not only the knowledge that we parents are having, kids are having, players are having. They have knowledge, or they have information. They don't know how to filter that. They don't know the web. They don't know how it always connects to each other. But they know the information. One of the biggest things that's challenging at the midget level these days is the difference now of people creating all-star teams, and that's a good version of recruiting, and it's a great thing to have, and to see that competition like that. But I think a lot of parents are forgetting that coaches still can coach. Coaches can still develop. And a lot of that is lost. And it's lost, I think, is because when you go and you look at, especially where in our area, for Pee Wee Tier 2 hockey and down, the coaching is very, very, very subpar. The development is very subpar. We're not putting our money into that. We're not putting our resources into that. And then when they get all the way up to the Bantam AAA level and they're so undercoached, they might have the skill, but they're undercoached. They don't actually really understand most of the game. They just know score a goal. They know offsides. They know those things. But to see them at Bantam AAA and be like, oh my God, like there's so much more we can develop now, and there's so much that needs to be taught, that I think parents forget that coaches need to teach, that coaches need to develop. It's not just have an all-star team. It's not just, hey, we're going to take the best 20 players and play full season, and all of our kids are going to get better via osmosis because we're all good and we're on the ice.
Well, it's the old comment players make, I play better with better players. Well, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Put me on the ice with Gretzky and Lemieux, and I'm probably scoring 30 goals, and I am terrible. but that just by chance. And but what happens if you're the 18th guy, 17th guy on that awesome 20-man team, and you might be a late bloomer, so now you're playing a third or fourth line role. You're not getting any special teams. You're not developing your full game. You're not a key player. No tier 1 or tier 2 scout is going to take a chance on you coming from that team.
No, and it really, like, at 16U especially, I know 18U I dealt with 2 years ago, and that was a little bit different, but at 16U especially, that is happening more and more and more with players. They are coming in, they're gauging it as it needs to be an all-star team. It needs to be this type of caliber. It needs to be a top 10 team with my hockey rankings. It needs to be a top 20 team with my hockey rankings, and they're forgetting the fact that you still need development. You still need to play. You still need to play 15 to 20 minutes a night. You don't want to be the guy playing 10 or less. You don't want to be the guy playing 7 or less at 16U.
Well, even worse, it's what is it like for the goaltender on that team? How do you know as a coach or a scout that's watching that team that potentially at the next level, a junior coach or whatever, that the goalie, when he all of a sudden has to face 40 shots, will be able to stop him when he's only facing 8 or 10 a night because he's got an all-star team in front of him.
Right.
Like, you're not every kid in that situation is in the best situation for them, and the goalie's the perfect example of that.
Yeah, and most of that's just you're in the best situation of somebody's ego. You're in the best situation of somebody's banner.
Right. Good conversation topic to talk about your kids playing on a top 10 team at the cocktail party that weekend. And for us, I mean, to me, the most frustrating question about our showcase teams is who's on the roster, right? So that to me right away says I'm really good, and I'm not going to play with unless the other kids are all really good. And all the kids who play those are really good. There's different levels of really good, right? But, for me, it's what we're going to do for you. And when you become, to me, once you're 17, this becomes about you, not about your team. It's not going to nationals. It's not winning your league. It's about you being in the best position for you to get seen and to develop. And with us, we're going to help you do that by contacting coaches and making sure people are coming to specifically watch you, as opposed to, we're not winning the Chowder Cup. We're not winning pre-draft, but we can compete, and we're guaranteeing you that we're going to get people to come out and watch you. Look at Kings of the East Coast, right? We come here, let's be competitive. If we go 0-4 and every game's close, awesome. Right. If we go 2-2 and every game's close, that's even better. We got a chance to go 3-1. So this is beyond our expectation level as coaches, but look what we can do today. Look at the stir we've created. We got a guy calling us America's team on Twitter right now, which is pretty funny and pretty cool. We're getting attention no matter what. And, who else is out there with you? It's great that we have assembled a good team, and these kids are kids who maybe have scattered and have played with each other before or played against each other and are really having a good time. But at some point, you've got to do what's best for you as a player, for your development and your exposure. And who's on the line with you? Yeah, it can make you look better maybe, but they're not looking at you with a 2-foot tap-in scoring goals. They're looking at you consistency of effort, playing all 3 zones, back-checking, forward-checking, good body language, all those hockey sense, simple plays, all those things we've already talked about. So when you look at us as a program this year, Ben, we already hit on the hockey night in Boston. I think you said 11 All-Stars on 3 teams, an all-tournament selection on the major team. Yeah. Tons of prep school interest, tons of junior interest for our players. Pre-draft showcase, I think we won 1 game in the junior A division we went 1-2. The other 2 games were close. We played some really good teams. We had 7 to 8 contract offers for kids on the team, and we also had 5 or 6 or more legitimate main camp offers. Not a mass email, but a coach, I saw you, come to my main camp. Yeah. You might have a future with us, if not this year, next year. Chowder Cup, our college open team, was the first local team to make the playoffs in years. So that was a successful wins and losses situation. We played a bunch of Canadian junior kids in the playoffs who won the tournament. That's our younger team. Now they see, oh my God, these tier 1 Canadian kids, we lost 4-1. They won the tournament. We're pretty close. Pretty cool opportunities. And then we come to Lowe, of course. There's 20 or more college coaches at every game. 2 wins against great teams. We're playing in an amazing facility. Kids are bonding. Kids from prep schools, AAA. Just really, we've really accomplished what we set out to accomplish this year, even though we're not winning every tournament.
Yeah, I mean, the interest level that we continue to get, the requests that we can continue to get from coaches, junior program GMs, of wanting to partner with us, wanting to stay in closer communication